Stayed for probably about 10 years now.
Dang.
Bit scary, really.
That's sad, honestly. So, I have it recording already. Not that we've started. I'm having like audio issues where I can hear my own voice right now.
Oh, that's awful. That's so distracting.
Yeah, it's very annoying. Is it doubling on your end?
No.
Okay, that's good. Because you're coming in perfectly. Okay, we'll just go. I'll just try not to be annoyed by my own voice.
No, it's very distracting when that happens.
Yeah, I don't know why. Every once in a while, it just chooses to do this, and it's so frustrating. A couple weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, we did a recording, and it was echoing everybody, my mic on their end, so I just had to be quiet the whole time. It was very frustrating and annoying. All right, we'll just move forward.
Yep, here I am.
You talked a little bit about belly dancing. Do you want to do you want to elaborate more on that, since we didn't really hit on as much as I thought we would?
Well, I think I'd mentioned about an idea I had for a book, which was a collection of anecdotes, and with the working title of Gignominy.
Yes.
So yeah, I was just sort of thinking about some of those. I mean, like one of the, well, let's say in all the gigs I've ever done, no matter how much I've planned, it's never, ever, ever gone according to plan. And most of the time it doesn't matter. Only I know what I'd had planned. So you just have to go with the flow and it's fine. But some of them have been quite awkward, shall we say. So there was one where I really thought I had hit the jackpot with this gig, because it was the annual restaurant awards in Manchester, and they were having their presentation dinner, and they wanted entertainment during the dinner. And so all like the best restaurants in Manchester were going to be represented there. And I got asked to come and be the entertainment there. And it was going to be like a 7-course meal, and they wanted me to come out in between each of the 7 courses. So like 6 times to come out. So it's quite a lot of planning. And I thought, well, I'll do some costume changes. I'll pick different styles of music. I'll come out with veils or with sagat, which is little finger cymbals, with the stick, cane thing, do all this kind of stuff. Had it all planned out. And it was the middle of winter as well, which is also relevant. And I arrived at this very, very posh restaurant, went to introduce myself to the manager and said, I'm the belly dancer. And he kind of looked at me a bit baffled. And I said, yeah, I'm coming to do the entertainment for this evening. And he looked really, really confused. And then he said, the theme of the evening is a journey through India.
No.
And each of the 7 courses is a different curry from a different part of India. And apparently the person he'd asked to organise the entertainment thought that belly dancing came from India.
Oh, no.
Which is why she booked me. So I said, shall I just go? And he said, no, you are the entertainment, so you have to stay. And he showed me into this tiny, tiny little office, which was literally, you couldn't swing a hamster, never mind a cat in it. It was absolutely tiny. The restaurant was very hot, but this little room had no heating and it was bitterly cold. And he said, you should get changed in there. So I'm in there and it was just absolutely freezing, so that all my limbs were just like setting with the cold. And then every so often somebody would come and knock on the door and say, come out now. And they'd play my music, and I'd have to kind of burst out when my limbs were so cold they would hardly move, and try and sprinkle fairy dust, as it were, on all these diners who had no idea what on earth I was doing there.
Yeah,
they were eating the curry.
I wonder.
The whole thing went on for about 4 hours.
And you were the only entertainment too, right? Oh my gosh, that's kind of embarrassing.
I wonder. 4 hours of constant discomfort and humiliation.
Yeah, that's so embarrassing. I wonder, do you think anybody was offended by that also? Or
nobody was offended. The guests were absolutely charming. They were delightful, just baffled.
Yeah, I think if it was me as a guest there, I would just enjoy it anyways. But I try to think about any of my cultures. If somebody mistook my culture for another culture, would I be offended or would I still be entertained? That's kind of an
Well, I mean,
interesting.
maybe somebody was offended. I'm not aware anyone was offended,
Yeah,
but,
yeah. Plus, I
you
mean,
could have act
it wasn't
offended.
on you. Yeah, it wasn't your fault. Wow, that's the person hosting that should have, like, maybe looked into things a little bit more before.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big booking, it was like, it was a significant commitment, so that yeah, you would think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
There
wow,
was
holy
another
cow.
really funny incident where myself and two of my colleagues were booked to do a show for the opening of a new nightclub in Liverpool. It's called the Blind Tiger, and it's a great big place apparently. So, and they said they wanted a full-on show with big ISIS wings, the great big wing things as well,
Yeah, pretty.
and they're
Yeah.
huge. So we asked the manager, "How high is the ceiling?" And he said, "Oh, it's about 11 foot. It's really high ceiling." And we said, "Well, okay, have you got any lights hanging down from the ceiling?" No, there's no lights hanging down from the ceiling. So we choreographed this amazing show with wings and everything. And we turned up there, and he's absolutely right. It was a high ceiling, and there were lights were set into the ceiling. What he'd failed to tell us there were ornamental bird cages hanging down all over from the ceiling all over. So we
Wow.
had to
You would think that somebody, when they ask about what's up there, that you would list the things that are up there, not be like, "Oh, no, there's not lights," and that's it. Wow.
you just answer the questions we were asked. It's like you feel like, it's trickery here. I'm trying to ask all the right questions.
Yeah,
But it
yeah.
ended up we had to kind of do the wings thing with kind of constantly looking upwards and trying to kind of weave the wings around in
I bet
between
it
the
still looks so pretty, though. I love
well, yeah.
what are the wings called?
ISIS wings.
Isis wings. Yeah, those are so
Yeah,
pretty.
they got it as ISIS. They're not Egyptian at all. They're American, but they're lovely stage props, but they're not
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
Egyptian, but
I've seen a couple that have, like, built-in lights in them.
oh yeah, I've got a set of them, yeah.
Yeah, oh, you do? Yeah, they're so
Oh,
magical. They're so
got to have all
magical.
the bling.
If you have any clips or photos, send them. I'll put them in on the thing.
Okay.
I love that stuff. I think it's so amazing. It's so pretty. Have you been to Egypt at all or anywhere
Oh,
from
yeah,
where
yeah,
these dances are? Oh, you have?
quite a lot of
Cool.
times, yes. I was
Nice.
over there in January this year, which
I
was
want to go.
lovely, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, during COVID, obviously, it was a bit difficult to travel and stuff like that, so I didn't go for a little while, but generally I like to go there as often as I can, see what the local dancers are doing and catch up with all the local
Cool.
fashions and the music trends and everything and meet up with old friends as well.
That's so cool. Yeah, we wanted for my honeymoon with my husband, we were gonna go to Egypt as well. He just wants to see the pyramids, but there's a river there that you can, snorkel with the sea turtles, and that's what I wanted. I didn't
Mhm.
even think about all this other cool stuff that you're talking about that we could.
Sea turtles.
Yeah.
I get that because I love snorkeling.
But
So.
we live in Florida too where there's sea turtles, so, like, I could do that here if I wanted to, but I don't know, in my brain, I was like, "We could scuba dive with sea turtles," and that's all I was focused on.
Different sea
Yeah,
turtles.
definitely.
Different
But
ones.
yeah, I didn't even think about all the stuff that you're mentioning. That would be so cool. I wanted to take We have kids, so our honeymoon, I also wanted it to be to bring the kids. I feel like if you're gonna do a trip like that, it needs to be an
Mhm.
experience for the whole family, not just us on our own, which my husband thought differently. He thinks it should be our honeymoon, but I'm like, "Let's do something." That needs to be like a smaller romantic trip, not like a big, giant, awesome trip that the kids can learn from. But we ended up not going because of COVID, though. We got married,
Oh,
like, right at the beginning of COVID and then kinda ruined our whole first year of marriage.
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, it was amazing actually when I went in January because I hadn't been for a few years, and the change in Cairo is amazing. I mean, I love Cairo anyway, but a lot of the things that I've always loved about Cairo drive other people mad. Like the crazy traffic
Mm,
and,
yeah.
the street vendors and all this kind of thing, and just the kind of general relaxed way of life. Um, but I couldn't believe the traffic. They've just improved the road system
Oh,
so
that's
much.
cool.
I mean, if you haven't been before, you might still be appalled by it, but compared to what it used to
Yeah,
be,
no,
it's
where
amazing.
I live in Florida too is very close to all the big giant theme parks, so our traffic is crazy in our area, and it's people from all over the world coming to Disney World,
Mhm.
coming to Universal theme park. So, yeah, I'm kinda used to heavy, crappy traffic. There's so many different, laws in all these different countries, so then they're all coming here,
Mhm.
applying their laws to our roads, and it doesn't it's I'm surprised there's not more crashes, honestly.
Well, I mean, and the thing I'm used to seeing in Cairo is things like a truck going down the road with 14 people sitting in the back, hanging
Yeah.
over the sides, and cars going along with the bonnet up because they're overheating, and the driver's looking underneath
Oh.
when,
Yeah, yeah.
stuff like that. I didn't really see any of
Wow,
that
that's
this
cool.
time.
That's awesome. That's a good
I missed that though.
So what is have you been to America? Have you been to the United States?
No, no, I haven't. I've got a standing invite to go there though, from a lovely friend of mine, an American dancer called Sakra.
And where do
Oh, hello, Sakra, if you
do
watch this.
you do you know where she lives?
Yes, she lives in
Oh,
Texas.
okay, that's a little bit far from Florida. We're such a huge country. It's ridiculous how big we are. We
Mhm.
need to be like 4 countries to even out a little bit. But yeah, I really wanna figure out how we can get you to a festival because I feel like you would be amazing, like such a good,
Oh, well, I'd love to
yeah.
go.
Oh, something else, I had 2 publishers contact me fairly recently. So I sent them your information, um, but I haven't sent them your book yet. I just told them I had a prospect, that I thought would be really great, and then so I'm waiting to hear back if they want the manuscript.
Oh, wonderful. Could I send you the edited
Yes.
one? Because I've had it back, got it back from the editor now, so it's a bit more
Awesome, yeah.
polished.
So I actually had 2, like, one was the day after the first time we met, and then one was, like, a week and a half later, a second one. So I just gave them your information and kinda told them about your book, but I didn't send them your manuscript because I wanted to check with you first before I
Yeah, no, that'd be fine, but I'd say I'll send you the edited
Okay, cool.
one, so it's a little bit slicker. It's slightly better formatting, and yeah, she's picked up on a few little bad habits that I
Yeah, I
have
get that.
writing.
Anytime I write, I ramble on. That's like me as a human. I ramble a lot, so there's a lot of editing.
Oh, me too. Yeah, yeah. But all the editing that I do is wasted if I don't then send it to who's a
Yeah,
professional.
yeah. I feel like I've heard a lot of writers say, like, that they constantly are editing while they're writing, and some good advice
Mm.
is to don't edit what you've written until you're completely done. I still can't. I can't.
I hear people say that, and I hear people say the
Mm,
opposite. I think it just depends on the individual. It's whatever suits you. I mean, I can't just write and write and write and not check back what I've
yeah.
done. That's just me. So, but I don't have any kind of system. I just write and edit and write and edit, and then sometimes I go back and read a bit I wrote a few weeks ago and edit that. So it's a bit random, like
Yeah,
me.
yeah. I really wonder what a very, like, famous author I wanna know what their system of writing is because mine's pretty chaotic. I start with like a tiny little idea and some micro ideas within that of where it's going to go. And then I
Mhm.
just start writing stuff and I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense here. So I'll remove it. And then I forget, did I put that in there already? Or should I put that here? Trying to remember what did I remove? What do I still need to add? My writing's chaotic for sure.
Well, I think every most people's is until they edit
Yeah.
it.
And that's why we need
Because
editors.
it's very much it's like a stream of consciousness that you put down, isn't it? And then you go back and you go, "Whoa, I've said that 3 times," or I took, a whole page to say something I could say in one sentence or whatever, and, then you tidy it up.
Yeah. I have a
Yeah.
children's book I wrote that started as a poem, but I felt like, well, that's not quite enough detail to be teaching kids stuff, so I expanded it, and now, it's for, like, ages, like, 4 to 9 maybe, like, kind of that range.
Mhm.
But one of my aunts who is a kindergarten teacher said I know she wasn't trying to insult me, but she's like, "This book really isn't for kids, is it?" I was like, "Oh, no," because I ended up expanding it so long that attention spans. even though it is like a happy-go-lucky book that
Yeah, I think it depends on the child really, because some children, if you're saying, 4 to maybe 7 or something, so 8, some children of 7 and 8 will sit down and read a whole long
Yeah,
book,
yeah.
So, I don't, yeah, that is a difficult one. I'm not sure, how you sort of work out what age something is for, but I think when I mean, I've never tried to write a children's book, but I would imagine if I did, I would be writing, um, I would be aiming at a particular kind of child rather than a
Mm,
particular age of
yeah.
child. And obviously, it would be within a certain age range, roughly, but it wouldn't be it would be a child who's interested in this.
Right, right.
Um, and and then I don't. This is probably why I shouldn't write children's books. I don't really know
We
what I'm
need more,
talking
we need
about.
more, so I feel like if you did ever write one, do that, because there is a kid out there who will fit that specifically and you match them, so I think if you have an idea, just go for it, you know?
I saw somebody post on a writing group today, a sample of the opening bit from a book, a children's book that they were writing, and it was aimed at about 12 to 13-year-olds, and it was about, she was saying, does this sound convincing for a young lad first seeing this girl and thinking she's absolutely wonderful, and she becomes his sort of first love. And it was very, very poetic. And I said to her, well, it's lovely writing, but if you think about, I don't know if you've ever heard of a book called The Secret Diary of Adrian Mole.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, okay. It's a very funny book. It was written about 30 years ago, I think. A Secret Diary of Adrian Mole, aged 13 and 3/4. And Adrian is a very he thinks he's very literary and educated, but he comes from a kind of a very mixed up household, and the diary tells sort of what's happening in his life, but through the eyes of a 13-year-old boy. And he has a girl called Pandora that he absolutely adores. But when he talks about Pandora, he wrote, she's got hair the colour of treacle. And she smells wonderful, just like our dog after a bath. And I was like, really? I think if you're about 13 and you're very innocent, which is the
Yeah.
character this woman was trying to write about, I think this is more the kind of thing that you're going to be thinking, rather than, her lips are like rosebuds or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, especially when you think about the difference of what boys like what their brain process is at that age and what a girl's process, a girl that age
Yeah.
might be a little bit more romantic thinking, but a
Yes.
boy
But definitely the character of Adrian Mole, he's a little bit, he's a bit sort of
mm,
geeky, and so he would just be very practical about it all and go, well, their hair is the colour of treacle.
yeah.
And I actually think that's very
Yeah,
evocative.
yeah. It's interesting because you don't really see that. Everything does kind of get, like, into this flow of trying to be a little bit more romantic when describing somebody,
Mhm.
and, yeah, it's kinda cute when you don't see that in a story.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was one of the things I actually, going back to my manuscript, which I tried very hard to avoid, was long
Mhm.
descriptions of people. So I put brief comments about what they look like, but no details at all, because I don't know, it just feels, it's like, I'm telling you about the character. You make it up for yourself,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
you think this person looks. I'm just giving you some rough details. But yes, I find it a bit.
If they
Mm.
ever decided to move forward with a movie or something like that too, in a book like this, it makes it so much easier to find a cast and crew when they're not trying to match specifically your character of the book. And it gives a lot more imagination. I remember reading a book when I was probably in like 5th grade, so maybe 11 years old, and my brother was 12 or 13, and we read the same book. And our vision of the people in the book were completely different.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Even the the race of the book. I remember, I don't know why I remember this, but I remember him asking me, do you picture them as this certain race? And I was like, I never really thought of, when it doesn't describe, I tend to think of my own race only. So I was like, I
Mhm.
never even thought about that before, but that's where my brother's brain went, which I think is pretty cool that, he
Mm.
expanded a little bit on these characters.
Yeah. Well, I tend to think that it's sort of in in real life. Um, when you see somebody, especially if you only see them very briefly, you get an impression. You don't tend to get, your mind doesn't fill up with the hair is this color and it's this
Yeah.
length. It's, when they're this tall and they're this build or whatever, you just tend to think, oh, I like the color of that dress she's wearing, or I mean, just weird little details. Might you go, oh, he's got nice arms,
Yeah.
or something. To me, that's how people tend to think, isn't it? Not long. Well, I think they do. That's how I think, obviously.
No, I'm the
But
same way. It's usually like some positive feature that stuck out to me, and that's what I think of them as.
mm, mm.
My dog's in here too, and now she's moving around. Yeah, so that same thing. Like if they had really gorgeous arms that I just wanted to sink my teeth into, that's what I'm that's what I'm going to remember about
Yeah.
them.
I mean, I think in a way, it feels if to be looking at somebody and describing them and thinking in your head in great detail feels kind of a little bit creepy to me.
Yeah. I get that.
Doesn't feel natural, and that actually comes into a scene in the story where actually one of them is watching the other one sleep, the two main characters. And a few people who've read it have said that that's really creepy and unsettling, which it's kind of meant to be.
Yeah.
But so he really has got the opportunity at that point to really look at her and think about what she looks like. But that's a not normal, not for him, not not generally. I don't think.
But I do think like what you're saying, that would be the time for you to describe a character, because it is sort of either a very creepy moment or a romantic moment, but kind of letting you inside that person's head. But in real life, you don't really have those moments very often, except when your
No.
partner's sleeping next to you, or your cute little child that fell asleep in your lap or something. Those are the moments where you're actually analyzing how precious they are, or what,
Absolutely.
or your obsession with them, or whatever it is. So yeah, that would be a good moment too. But yeah, like you said, it's a good moment to be creepy, or it's a good moment to be poetic. And I agree. That's the time.
In defense of the character involved, he is aware that he shouldn't really be doing that at the time. He's kind of slightly tormented by the fact that he's doing it. So,
Which is great.
He's not an out and out creep or anything.
Yeah, well, that's like another thing too. It really gives somebody, like, I feel like me personally, I'm not a very judgmental person, but I find myself often saying negative statements about this, that, or the other. And then it gives me like an opportunity to reflect. Maybe I am a bit more judgmental than I really think I am. This is kind of like that character where he's like, I don't do this. This doesn't feel right. It's out of character for me. I feel kind of wrong for doing it. And I feel like that's a very human, or maybe I'm just like that character, maybe. But I feel like it's a very human, natural kind of thing to do, to reflect.
You can relate to him.
Yeah. I definitely relate. Yeah. I get it for sure. And it's very human. I feel like that's very realistic, very human thing to do, a realistic thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, it happens at a point where he has realized that he's really fallen for this person and it's never happened to him before. So he feels a bit out of control emotionally.
Which is also very, very real, very.
Housing cat.
Hi, Kitty. Yeah, Kitty was in there last time too. Hi, Kitty. Welcome back.
He was, yes. He likes to get involved.
Welcome back, Kitty.
He's seeking fame.
Is this your only kitty?
No, we've got two others.
Oh, okay.
And a dog.
Nice. Nice. Is that this?
Yeah, we've had more than that. We had 6 at one point.
I was a crazy cat lady on accident at one point because I took in fosters, like abandoned kittens or whatever, and the Humane Society would contact me, hey, can you have these fosters until they find homes? But a lot of times I would get attached and be like, I'll just keep this one. So we had.
But madam, you already have 7.
Yeah. I think at one point at the height we had 13 cats.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was wild.
No, you win. You win. That's crazy.
But that was like kind of short-lived. And side subject, we actually took in baby panthers at one point.
Did you know they were
Yeah,
panthers?
yes, I was
Didn't
told.
if somebody didn't just say, "I've got some very big black cats here for you to look
Yeah,
after."
no, I knew they were panthers. Their parents were, they were from different moms, but their moms had been poached. And so kind of a sad thing, but I was supposed to keep them for, I can't remember, like 12 or 16 weeks, and then they were going to not, it wasn't a zoo, but kind of like a zoo. They were going to go and be like
Yeah.
rehabilitated there. And I couldn't keep them that long because they were uh when you come out to feed them, they are climbing your legs, and their claws,
Oh my
just
god.
as even like this little kitten, like, maybe 2 feet tall, climbing my legs, and I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm not gonna survive this." But they were so cute. They were so cute, but no, no, no. I that was the last time I took in a wild animal of that of that nature.
Oh yeah, you it's a whole different ball game. It's like this cat is being a real
He's
nuisance.
helping.
He started rubbing up against the side of the laptop and pushing it all over the place.
He's helping. He just wants to be a part.
So, right. Yes, look, have your moment. Have your moment. There
Oh,
you
hi,
are.
kitty. Yeah,
Hi, my name's Troy.
now he's shy. Oh, are you camera shy now?
He is shy, yeah.
So cute. I love animals so much. Ridiculous. They make the world better, I think.
I think so.
Do you guys have I just don't know much about the UK, but do you guys have like a mouse problem, or is there a lot of mice and things there that cats are chasing, or
Well, there are in places. I would say that overall rats are probably more of a problem. I mean, we don't have a problem with
yeah,
mice
yeah.
because we've got three cats. Um, but we do have, I mean, there are rats. We've got land at the back of our house with some stables, and there's rats in
Oh,
there,
okay.
despite all our best efforts. It's inevitable. There's a saying over here that if when you're in a town, you're never more than 6 feet from a rat.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I never think about it. Here we have lizard where I live now, lizards everywhere. Um Worse than any mouse problem I've ever seen, but people here
Oh,
don't.
really? Because you see, I would find lizards quite, a pleasant problem to
Yeah, so
have. But
almost everybody thinks that they don't even think twice about when there's a lizard around, but how much they're like just crawling through everywhere and pooping all over everything. I'm like, I wonder
yeah,
why.
yeah, I can see that would be a problem. Yeah, I've never been around enough lizards for
Oh
that
yeah,
to be an
it's a
issue.
huge problem, but I don't know. I am a nature lover for sure. So every time there's like eggs that I find, or sometimes the babies are born, and I'm just like so
Mhm.
excited. I'm like, we have 9,000 more lizards in my yard, like so excited. My husband's like, oh great, more poop we have to clean out of the garage or whatever. But yeah, most people don't complain about them like they're mice, and I would kind of, so in my brain they're kind of equal. They're causing the same disasters everywhere, so
They probably are. I mean, at this time when we had, I think, 4 cats, we did have a mouse problem for a while, which was extraordinary. I just felt like I had to line the cats up and give them a bit of talking to. Because we had a cupboard in the kitchen, and there was a little box of chocolates in there, and they were quite big chocolates. I think they were almonds in chocolate, and they were like big, chunky things, like the size of half an egg, the top half of an egg shape. And I opened the door one morning, and there was a mouse in the cupboard, stretched over this chocolate, and it was so big compared to him that his feet could only just like touch the ground
oh,
either side of this chocolate. And I sort of looked at him, and I thought he's going to run away, but no, he was not giving up this chocolate. And he managed to get it out of the cupboard and get it along the floor, like walking on tippy toes. And I was like, okay, you've earned that
yeah, you
chocolate
can
now.
have
You
it.
really have. But,
They're so funny.
it was after that I went and talked to the cats, and I said, look, come on, guys. You've got to pull your weight a
We
bit
got a
here.
problem here, and you guys need to solve it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I accept that there are mice around, but now these ones are just taking the
Yeah.
mickey. Yeah.
That's so funny. That's such a cute image to picture too, just
It was extraordinary. I just couldn't intervene because I was just
yeah.
mesmerised watching this determined little mouse go, I'm not giving up my
He's like,
chocolate.
I need this, and I'm gonna take it. You
Yep.
don't need this, lady. I
Yep.
need it.
You've got plenty.
Yeah.
I'm just taking the one for my whole family.
That's so cute. Yeah. In my old house, when I had 13 cats, well, not when I had 13 cats, but the house I lived in when I had 13 cats, we would randomly have mice show up there. And I was always surprised because I'm like, we have so many cats. At any given point, we had at least 4 cats, you know? Um, but we had one time try to take a whole pastry with him. He was just dragging it on the counter and he tried to go underneath the microwave with it, but he could fit under the microwave, but he couldn't pull the pastry under the microwave. So I was like, well, I was going to let you have it, but now you can't, you know, if you can't take it with you, you can't have it.
We once found a mouse nest in the kitchen and it was full of dry cat
Oh,
food.
interesting.
And I thought, that's cheeky.
Yeah. I would rather they steal the pet food than my food I'm gonna get.
That's true, but I just thought it was a bit out there. You know, how to annoy the household cats. I'm just gonna I'm gonna be around here. I'm just not gonna be fazed by you. I'm actually gonna
take your food with you. Yeah, that's so funny.
And we we had a friend staying with us for a while, and he was doing some work in the front room. And apparently he just looked up from his laptop and there was a mouse sitting having a wash in front of him on the carpet, just looking at him.
I don't know. They're so cute when they do that and they have like their little pot. I don't know how people want to get rid of. I get it because they're spreading germs and disease and stuff, but they're so cute. Yeah. How can you can't we just find a way to live together?
This is Mother Nature playing tricks on us, isn't it?
Yeah. But there's
they're really cute, but germs.
Yeah, and which way do you go? That's I guess with the lizards, I don't think we have as much germs and disease passing through other than their poops everywhere. But yeah, I don't really feel like and they take care of bugs at least. Like they're out there getting bugs. So
yeah. But you do have to admire their survival skills because apparently they will eat candles and stuff like that to get nutrition.
The mice will?
Mice will, yeah. I mean, I don't think that's an ideal diet, but I mean, you know.
Yeah, if you're hungry, you're hungry.
They will actually eat anything like that. A bit like dogs, really, that can just kind of get by on anything. There's a bit of nutrition in it, I'll have it.
My puppy that's hiding right here, though, she's the weirdest dog I've ever met because the only thing she wants to eat is dog food. She doesn't want. I could put a steak in front of her face, and she would be like, "No, thank you." But we have a Great Dane. The only thing he wants is people food. So I'm like, we spend like $1,000 a month on food for that special food for him, and he's like, "No, I would rather eat that lettuce because you have it." and he just wants what people want.
The idea of a Great Dane being sustained by lettuce just doesn't ring true somehow.
Yeah, it's just whatever a person wants. Because if we pretend to eat his food, then he wants his food. That's usually how we have to trick him into eating. We'll be like, "Oh, this is so good," and then we'll put it down. And he's like, "You're right, it is." But if we just give it to him first, he's like, "No, thank you. I'm not interested."
Oh, we used to have a rescue dog called Foster. He was so wily. He was a wonderful dog, and we had some people around who were eating a pizza at one point, and they, despite being warned not to, they left the pizza unattended for under a minute, and when they came back, Foster had just eaten every scrap of an entire pizza and was just busy sort of, wiping his mouth.
Yeah. We had so my Great Dane is actually a service dog for one of my teenagers. So he alerts us for medical issues and stuff, and he was going through his training, and the day he graduated, he actually got an award called the Good Citizen Award. My Great Dane did. And so we went to this like ceremony for him and all that stuff. And I was at work and I went straight from work to his ceremony. I wasn't going to miss my dog's proud moment, So I didn't go home and eat first. My husband had made dinner, everybody ate, and then they went to the ceremony. But my dinner was left on the counter. So we go to the ceremony, met my family there, come home. The dog runs in. The first thing he does after earning his Good Citizenship Award was eat my dinner on the counter. I'm like,
well, he probably thought he was immune now. He's like, I'm a good citizen. It's official.
I've earned this. It's my special reward. But I was like, you darn stinky guy. You can't get a good boy award and then steal my dinner. But he earned it, I guess. He is a good boy. He deserved it. But I just thought it was so silly. Like, of all the days to do this, it's the day you're labeled a good boy. The cute, cheeky little guy for sure. A naughty. He's so hyper. Well, he's hyper is not the right word. He's so excited, and because he weighs like 160 pounds, sorry, I don't know the translation of weight.
I'll do. I understand that.
Yeah, he weighs more than I do. So when he's excited, his tail is wagging and it'll leave bruises on you from
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
it's a pleasant nightmare where you're like, at least you're not violent, but you're kind of violent.
Do you own a coffee table?
We don't.
No, because you can't have anything on a coffee
Yeah.
table with a dog like that, can you? Because like one sweep of his tail and it's
Yep.
just
We had
all gone.
anything that's like the air fresheners or the night lights that you plug into an outlet.
Mhm.
Had to get rid of those because he's constantly knocking them out. But we just about a week ago, not even a week ago, we went and had to move all our picture frames up a little higher because he's tall. He's very tall. He's a Scooby Doo. He looks like Scooby Doo. But so when he's like running up and down the stairs or running in the hall where I have all my photos hanging, he is constantly knocking stuff out. So we just finally, we had like this stack of ones that had gotten knocked off. And I'm like, let's just move everything up about 2 feet. and then maybe I can put these other ones back up on the wall. And yeah, he's a happy guy though, which is important. And he does his job.
Well, yeah, that's the waggy tail's telling you what you basically need to know, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you just have to work
Yeah.
around it.
I feel so bad when people come in and he's so huge that everybody's excited by him. Like, we've never seen a dog that big before, especially little kids. Like, it's a horse. And then I'm like, be careful if he tries to give you a high five and he like misses your hand because he'll, high five or shake or whatever. If he does that to a kid, he's gonna knock him over. So I'm like, don't let him high five you. Like, gentle, everybody, gentle, my big giant. But yeah, he is a happy guy. So
I have animals too, so
So you said you have 3 cats and a dog. Is your dog a little guy?
It's a whippet.
Oh, a little skinny little guy.
Quite little, but basically very skinny.
Yeah, a little
skinny and bony.
skinny.
Yeah.
Oh, but they're so cute. How do they? Is yours nervous where you have to like put weight on her all the time?
It is. No, we don't have a problem with her weight. She's about the right weight, but she is nervous. We've had this is the 3rd whippet we've had, and she's the most nervous of them. I have to say, but she's still quite young. She's not a year old yet. So, when we got her, she was so scared she wouldn't go outside. She didn't want to go out in the garden or anything. And she's got over that perfectly well. So she'll probably get there, but she's taking longer than the other dogs we've had.
Yeah,
and we've also got a horse and 2 ponies.
Oh, cool!
Which out the back there, but they're they're not performance horses, I think it's fair to say. There's my old geezer, Saxon, who's 31. He's a big sort of hairy cob, big hairy feet and stuff. And then we've got a tiny, weeny rescue pony and another bigger pony who is sort of a rescue pony in that somebody asked us to look after it some years ago and has just left it with
wow
us. So yeah, but they're all geriatric.
Yeah.
mine's 31. The little tiny pony's about 22, I think, and we've no idea about the other one. So
how big are your ponies? You said one's a teeny tiny guy.
One's really tiny. Mine Saxon, he's 15 hands, but he's like big, I mean, because he's so old now, he's lost a lot of his muscle tone, but in his day he was like massive thing. And the other one is about 14 hands, the other pony. We used to have a massive horse that was half Shire.
Wow.
He died 7 years ago, but he was genuinely enormous.
Yeah, those big horses, I don't know why, but they like the Clydesdale, all those really big ones, they kind of remind me more of babies for some reason. Just the way they have like comedically large feet and eyes and, very baby-like, even though they're massive.
Yeah, and they tend to be very gentle because they're bred to be gentle because you don't want to have an animal that size that's not.
Yeah.
So they tend to be very, very easy to
Yeah, they're
handle.
so pretty though.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
My mom she has miniature horses that she shows,
Oh yeah.
and I don't know if you have to shave your ponies, but she has to shave her mini horses. Like, because they get
Right.
really fuzzy, and
Yeah.
so in the winter they have like this big fluffy coat.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what you do with them, because if you work horses, then you have to clip them, because otherwise they just get too
Yeah.
sweaty over the winter. Have to clip them and then rug them. But because, I mean, the tiny pony, you can't. I could possibly just about ride him, but he's really tiny. And my horse, his saddle doesn't fit anymore because he's so old and his
Oh,
muscles has
so
changed.
little.
So he's sort of changed his shape. So he would be rideable, but only bareback, and just sort of plodding around. And the other one, I have tried to ride her, but she hasn't been ridden for so long that she's really nervous and won't move an inch. So it's not like they're actually worked.
Yeah.
So we don't keep them. We just leave them over the winter.
Yeah, your horse. Did you used to ride him?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, we did all sorts together.
Yeah, I used to have I can't say a lot of horses, but I think 4 or 5 at one point. When I lived with my dad. My parents are divorced, but my dad had a ranch and we had a couple horses. So I used to ride pretty frequently. At least once a week, we'd go on really long trail rides. I had one of my horses. I can't think of I think she was just an American quarter horse is what she was, but she was pure white.
Mm-hmm.
She tried to roll over when we were crossing a river, and I was on her back, and she was like, "Here looks like a good spot to dump you off." It wasn't a deep river. It was like she was tall enough to walk across the whole way, but yeah, she was just like, "How about we lay down here?" No, thank you. No, thank you.
Well, we took my horse Saxon to the beach some years ago. This is when we still had the big horse Rocky. We took the two of them to the local beach, and Saxon just decided he wanted to roll. Well, I was riding him on the beach, and I just felt what he was going to do. I just felt him go down at his front legs, and I thought, "Hey, up!" So I jumped off, and fortunately, he didn't wreck his saddle, but he had a good old roll in on the sandy beach.
They could, even when they're being like not mean or anything, they could be so scary to be around. Just like that could have really injured you if he just was like,
oh yeah, I mean, and Saxon is he's a git. I mean, he's a very opinionated horse, and he's quite contrary-wise, but he's very kind. So, I would sort of trust him above the others, in the sense that he'd never intend to hurt anyone. But he's got such big feet, and he is so huge that you do have to be careful.
Yeah, they can be real dangerous even on accident. But I remember one of our horses, I'm trying to think of what her name was. I can't even remember. That's so sad. I forgot her name, but she was beautiful. She was mostly brown, but her legs were black. About starting at the knee. I'm like showing my elbow, but at her elbow, they were black from there, and she had a black mane. She was very beautiful. But my older brother was like, "Here's a raspberry for you," and she bit his finger off his one of his thumb because he held it like this instead of. She was just like, with their soft little lips, and they do that like movie. And she was like, "Don't mind if I bite down." So I'm sure she was horrified.
Oh God!
She's like, "This raspberry tastes weird."
I was just standing out in the sunshine some years ago, and with Saxon, and he was just licking my hand, and I was just like looking around, enjoying the moment and stuff, not really paying attention. And my hand kind of like curled up a little bit, and he nibbled, not hard, he nipped my finger accidentally. And I just squealed in shock. It didn't hurt that much. It was just a shock because I was kind of miles away, just looking around and everything. And he ran and hid behind a tree.
A little sweet guy.
And he kept like peeking out from behind the tree. He was like, "Can I come out? Yeah, am I in trouble?"
Yeah, that's so sad. That's so sweet though that he even thought, like, realized that something happened. But their faces, their little mouths, and their little squishy chin, it's just such a unique feel that it's kind of hard not to play with it. It's like it's firm but squishy at the same time. So it's hard to not want to touch them right there or kiss their little noses. It's hard. You gotta touch them. You gotta love on them. It's hard not to.
There's a friend of mine who works with horses a lot, and she was working. There's a big equine hospital a few miles from us, and she was working there for a while. And somebody was telling her about one of the horses that they had there. That he really liked it if you went like this on his face. It was just his
Yeah.
thing. And so she was, I don't know what she was doing, but she was going around the stalls, and she was at this stall, and she thought, oh, I'm going to, I'll do this to this horse, And she did it. And this horse just like reared up and just panicked. It was the wrong horse.
Oh, no.
And it was a horse that just had an operation or something. So it was feeling a little bit fragile. She just went up to it and
Oh, no.
traumatized.
Yeah, but that's kind of scary though too. You do that to the wrong horse and they're like, I'll do it right back to you.
Yes.
So scary, but they're so pretty.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think she was in the stable with it. I think she was leaning over the door.
That's so funny. All right. So, anyways, we got off on this, which I love. I could talk about animals all day, every day. I love them all. There's not an animal I don't love. Richard, who you spoke to, I think he's an animal lover, but he's the furry, fluffy kind of animal lover.
I really wondered where you were going with that, because it's not an animal I don't love, but Richard.
He's the only animal that I'm really not into. No, but
this is what I thought you were going
no,
with that.
He anytime somebody mentions like a not fuzzy cute animal, he kind of always like has this squeamish tone about him, like, so I think he might be afraid of like even birds, and I'm not. He's definitely afraid of snakes. Lizards would probably make him.
Tell me about the whole lizard situation.
Yeah, I'm wondering when he comes here if I have to warn him. Frogs are really bad around here too, and so many.
I love
they're
frogs.
So cute. The ones that annoy me, they're still cute in my opinion, but we have toads, and I have a little pond in my front yard, and both the frogs and the toads come to lay eggs in my pond, and I have to scoop them out because they do millions of eggs, and I'm like, I'm not having millions of frogs, so I try to get the eggs out.
Oh, you won't have millions of frogs, really? You can just leave them there, because it's tragic, but out of a whole load of frog spawn, you probably get about 3 frogs.
Yeah, we've left quite a few before, but I have fish in my pond too, and they tend to eat my fish, so I try to keep them away from my fancy fish.
I thought the fish would have eaten the frog spawn.
I have little fish. I have betas, and I have they're called fancy guppies, but the guppies are really little, and they get eaten too much. I mean, they're kind of getting out of control because they keep breeding with each other. So maybe I need some frogs up in there. But yeah,
it sounds like a whole like ecosystem you've got. A bit, the battle of the different species going on.
I love it. I sit out there all the time and just talk to my fish. I have only 2 betas in there, and one of them, she follows me around the pond, and like if I put my finger in, she'll come rub up on my finger and everything. I love it. It makes my heart so happy. But yeah, the toads we have, they scream all night long. They don't just like croak. They're literally screaming. I'll have to send you a clip but every night. So we try to go.
That sounds like a horror film.
Yeah, it's the first time it happened, I was so excited because we hear the screaming and we're like, what is that? And I walk out, in my pond's in my front yard, and I walk out and there's like 50 frogs or toads. And I'm so, oh my God, they're so cute. I love it. But now 5 years later, I'm like, can they just shut up already? could they just not be doing that? But the frogs are quiet. The frogs we have, they're very quiet, but they kind of sound like meh, meh, when that's like the only sound they make.
Have you ever been to Barbados?
No, I haven't. We're pretty close though, so I should go.
The tree frogs there, just do a Google search for the sound of the tree frogs. In the evenings, the tree frogs make this extraordinary noise. It's just amazing. But it's only just it's probably for about 3 or 4 hours in the evening. So I mean, I don't know whether you want to live there, you'd get sick of it, but
the frogs that we have here, I think we have 2 different kinds of frogs. One is called the Puerto Rican tree frog, and I can't remember the other one. Both of them, they don't bother me still to this day. And sorry, toads, but frogs I think are so much smarter than toads also. But they're so cute. The frogs, though, when I come out, they'll just kind of like look at me and watch me for a while and like turn their head this way and that and watch what I do. But they're quick to move if I get close to them. The toads are just like, I don't know what's happening. And I'm just like, let me grab you. And I put them in a container and then we take them to I have a forest in my backyard. So we'll take them out to the forest and release them back there. And
All right, you don't take them to a neighbour that you don't get on
oh,
with.
I
Then.
wish one of my next door neighbors. Ooh, he is not a guy. He's not a guy like it, which is too bad because I love his wife. She's very lovely human. He, however, is a very grouchy old man who hates the world, I think. So, yeah, when my son was like just a 1.5, I don't even think he was even 1.5 yet. That neighbor came and cussed out my 1.5-year-old son for walking along the property line. There's no fence up or anything, but my 1-year-old was just like walking around the edge of our yard. That guy came out and was like, if you fucking come on my goddamn property, to my 1.5-year-old son, like just rip. And so my husband was like, excuse me, sir. No.
Whew. Does he have children?
I'm not sure because he really is. He's like, I think he's 78 or 79. So I'm guessing he had at some point had children. I'm not sure. His wife is younger. She's in her 60s, but she's not like significantly younger, but she's at least 10 years younger than him. But she's so lovely. And I'm like, that's the only way she has to be lovely or she wouldn't be able to put up with him is my
Sounds like it.
and she's out there. She works out all the time. She goes on walks with her dog and she goes on walks like probably about 4 hours of the day. She's out walking the neighborhood and taking her dog like long walks.
She's maybe staying
That's
out of
what
the house.
that's what I always tell my husband. I wonder if she's looking for some like reprieve away from her husband. But yeah, they're actually both very active. They go canoeing like once a week, and he's very proud of his yard, so he's out mowing it like multiple times a week, and very active. But he's just a grouchy old man.
I don't understand how people manage to sustain that much anger in their lives.
It's so much energy.
Yeah, I haven't. I couldn't be bothered, even if I was interested in it. I couldn't.
Yeah. It's old already. I'm over this. I'm over being angry. Like, yeah.
Yeah, move on. Whatever. Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
Too much effort, too much work. That's even when he's like calling the cops on friends who come over and stuff. I'm like, why? How much time do you have? How much free time do you have? Or how bored are you that you need this drama in your life? But anyways, he's just gonna have to get over it.
You should just say to me, have you thought of playing golf?
Yeah. And we live close to golf courses too, so he could like just go. Please, sir.
Yeah,
Just
I
go.
think you should suggest that. Yeah, get him a Christmas present of a trial membership at the local golf club.
Oh, that's a good idea, actually. Something like that. Just like get out for every day. Just go somewhere. But my other neighbors, next door neighbors, they are so lovely. They're like the nicest people on the planet. So I kind of got blessed with at least them being exceptional, and you couldn't ask for better neighbors.
We've always been very lucky with neighbours, I must say. When we moved in here, we had living next door a really elderly German couple, and this story is incredible. Bert and Taya, and Bert had been a prisoner of war in a camp here. He was a submarine officer, and so when he'd been caught, he'd been sent to the prisoner POW camp, and the POW camp used to be at the far end of the village. And apparently, what they used to do was they would put the POWs on a horse, on a cart pulled by a horse, and take them down our street. And if anybody wanted any work done, gardening work or anything around the house, whatever, they would stop the cart and say what they wanted doing. And if somebody wanted to do a job for a few pence or something, they would jump off the wagon and come and do it. And the family that was living in this house at the time needed some work done, and this horse and cart came down, and Bert got off the cart and followed them up the drive. And they said to him, "Oh, you can't come in the front door. You have to go round the tradesman's entrance, round the back." And he apparently promised to himself he was going to prove that he was as good as them. And after the war, he bought the house next door.
Oh, nice. That's one way to do it. That's nice. That's kind of awesome.
Yeah. And also, I discovered just the other day, because his daughter lives across the road. They sadly died now, but his daughter lives across the road. And I discovered the other day that during the war effort, all the railings, iron railings and stuff were all pulled out and melted down because we needed all the metals. And after the war, Bert set up this company here, which made metal things, and he made all the replacement railings for the city of Chester.
That's cool. That's cool, though.
Isn't that
yeah, that's that kind of stuff. Even though it seems like just such a random thing, like when you really think about the impact it has and the recovery of your economy and all all that stuff, it's really amazing. That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's an incredible guy. And when we when we used to go around there, I mean, it's not a long walk from next door to our house, but we never left there sober. It doesn't matter what time of the day or night you went, what day of the week. He would say, "Would you like a drink? I've got a little herbal drink from Germany."
That's so sweet.
And he'd present you with something, and the glass would be full with like a meniscus over the top, and he'd bring it to you, and he'd go, "Here you go, this will warm you up." It didn't matter what the weather was like. This will warm you up.
Oh, that's so sweet, though.
Some sort of incredible herbal firewater from Bavaria or something.
That's so sweet. That's so cute, so sweet. So I love talking to you, but somebody in the other room, my next interview just
I understand.
I'm so happy, though. I think I got a lot of stuff I'm going to clip out of here and we'll use. I love talking to you. I hope I get a chance to just do this again. It was so nice to just listen to your stories. So
anytime. Just I've enjoyed it as well. So just ping me off an email.
I probably will. Next time I have a free moment, I'll be like, "Hey, do you want to just chat?" So, sweet. Awesome. It was so good.
Absolutely. So you carry on then. I'll send you the edited version of the manuscript.
Wolf Media Festival Podcast with Kyle Hollingsworth, Richard Wilmore, and Jacquelynn Wolfheart. Produced and edited by me. I'm Jacquelynn Wolfheart. Don't forget to check out the links in the description to find ways you can connect with our guests. Thanks for checking us out today and tuning in every week wherever you get your podcasts.